Yat Thank you for listening to this podcast. She Peter Deswit III in Shia. Tachini Nishle. Kitligini Bashishin. Ashin Hidashichedo. Twohiglini Dashnala. I run this podcast, 21st Century Native Leaders. Please comment on Facebook at 21st Century Native Leaders or on Instagram, Navajo Podcaster. This episode has two sponsors. NavajoStore.com, an online store for Navajo products. Visit NavajoStore.com and order your clan coffee mug, clan travel mug, or clan license plate. Visit NavajoStore.com. You can also find us on Facebook at NavajoStore.com. The second sponsor is Tselani Professional Business Consulting Services, LLC, a Navajo-owned business. Contact TPBCS for business development and technical assistance if you are interested in entering, expanding, or improving your business. Contact Tselani Professional Business Consulting Services at 480-980-0211 or on Facebook, TPBCS. Hello, listeners. Thank you for joining me on 21st Century Native Leaders. My name is Peter Deswit III, and I am here with Caroline Sekaquaptewa. Is that correct?
Yes, close.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So tell me about yourself, your tribe, and your tribal affiliation, and where you come from.
My name's Caroline Sekaquaptewa. I'm Hopi, and I'm also one-fourth Chinese. I'm from the village of Sekaquaptewa, which is in Second Mesa. My clan is Water, Butkiwungwa clan, and I'm 43 years old. I'm a mother to 4 daughters. They're 22, 20, 13, and 9. And I also have a 2-year-old grandson. Yeah. So I'm a grandma and a mom.
That's amazing. That's very similar to my wife and I. We have a 23, a 12, and a 9-year-old. So very close.
Yeah, they keep me busy. They're also very active in sports. I have one that plays at an NAIA college. She plays basketball, and she's also run cross country and track in junior college. So we're all into some sport. Yeah.
That's amazing. So the reason I reach out to you is because I notice you're a triathlete, and you don't see very many natives that compete in triathlons across the United States.
Yeah.
So talk with me about that. How did you get into competing in triathlons?
I began around 2005, and it started because we have a native triathlon club here in Salt River, and they are called the Salt River Triathletes, and we did a lot of relays, and they always needed a runner. So I've been a runner since probably 3rd grade, and I always filled in the runner spot for those relays. So in 2007, I did my own first whole triathlon, and it was a sprint, which is one of the shortest distances, and it just continued from there. I just really enjoyed the challenge of it, and the personal satisfaction in finishing one of those. And you're right, during that time we would see like maybe one other native triathlete at these races around that time, and since then it's probably been like 11 years, and now there's always a group, so it's kind of cool to see how it has grown over those years. But yeah, in 2000, I have done 3 full Ironman races. The first one was in 2012, and then I did another one in 2014, and then last November. So along the way, I've done 6 half Ironman races, and then every year I try to do at least 1 to 2 short distance races. I'm more of a runner, but I also really enjoy triathlon.
That's amazing. My wife and I also do triathlons, and we
Oh,
try to
cool.
run. So that's
Uh-huh.
why it's pretty cool. I love the feeling of the transitions and going from one to the other, and the training is pretty hard. So speaking of training, talk to me about how you train for an Ironman or an Olympic triathlon.
So I'm a teacher. I also teach preschool, and I teach 3 and 4 year olds. And then I'm a single mother, so training is kind of a challenge, especially because my girls are into all kinds of stuff after school. So most of my training happens before I go to work, so I'll get up like 4, sometimes earlier, and then get my workout done. And then sometimes I need a second workout, so I'll do that later on. And then the weekends, if I'm doing, this is the reason why I don't do Ironman so often, because just of time. It's a lot of commitment, not only from my time, but my daughters also help out too. And so I don't want to put that on them every year. So I kind of space them out. But yeah, like long on the weekends for long rides and runs, it's usually maybe 6 hours, 5 hours for the ride. And then the next day we do a long run, which could be 3 hours, sometimes longer. And so just trying to keep in mind that I do have their commitments too is a challenge to balance that out. But a typical week though, I take one day for rest, which is usually like yoga or some type of active recovery. But every other day it's 1 to 2 workouts, and it's good to just mix it up, and like you said, the transitions. But yeah, so every day with triathlon training, it's not the same thing every day, so it's a good change.
That's true. So then, just so everybody knows, what are the distances for an Ironman?
So the swim is 2.4 miles, the bike is 112 miles, and then the run is a marathon, which is 26.2 miles. So yeah, and then of course a half is just half distance of all of that. So the total miles for a half is 70.3 miles, and then for the full Ironman is 140.6. So yeah.
And what about the sprint?
They usually have different distances for the swim, but it's usually 750-meter swim, a 13-mile bike, I believe, and then a 3.1-mile run at the end. So
So
that 750, when you first start swimming, it feels like miles.
that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. So I've actually done only one Olympic or a half Ironman,
Oh,
and
nice.
and it was before I had kids, and it
Uh-huh.
was just a lot of training. Um, it got to the point where I had to bike to work just to get my miles in. I mean, is that
Uh-huh.
similar for you as well?
Well, I say that all the time. I wish I could ride my bike to work because I would, but I drop them off on my girls on the way to school, so I don't think that would work. So I really appreciate when people are able to ride to work. I really wish I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree, and it's so interesting though. Just the amount of running and time you have to put into these events. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even before I had kids, like I had finished 3 or 4 marathons full.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have kids and you have a job, it's kind of hard to do those activities. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. I One time we were counting the hours that we put into training. We were training for an Ironman, my brother and I think we got like between 15 to 20 at one point when the intensity was really high. So we were saying this is our other job. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a second job. And yeah, it takes a lot of time. And I think with my brother, we train a lot together. We live right down the street from each other, so we do a lot of stuff together. And he's younger than me, but he also has 2 kids. And so at times we're on our bike trainers, riding inside, reading something for work. It's just about like making the most of your time, and sometimes that's what you have to do.
That's so true. I remember many nights riding or mornings sitting on the trainer. I watch Netflix, but just killing 2 birds with one stone. So, talk with me about the similarities between triathlons and life.
So I was thinking about this. I was running this morning and I was thinking there's so many similarities to any endurance sport in life because of, I mean, you have a lot of obstacles. You find a way to overcome these obstacles and just on the way to reaching these goals that you set for yourself. When I first started, I didn't know how to swim. Where I'm from, we don't have a lot of water, so I never took interest in learning how to swim right. I mean, I can float and stuff and not drown, but not like a freestyle. I didn't know the mechanics of it, and I was very slow. I mean, I'm still not that fast, but I signed up for swim lessons. And basically, I just learned how to swim, and that was how I began in 2007. And so I always tell people when they say, I don't know how to swim or I don't know how to run well or whatever, and they want to do a triathlon, and I always tell them my little story of how I didn't know how to swim and just overcoming those type of obstacles for sport. And you do this every day in life too. And just knowing that you're going through like all the training, all the hours, you're multitasking, and it does make you proud that you're building this resilience in yourself, and that you can stay disciplined to finish something huge like this, and it carries on to, it kind of makes work seem a little bit easier. And yeah, it's just, you're putting your body through a lot of, I guess, pain, and you know that your brain is tougher. And so, yeah, I use that a lot to translate into my life, my obstacles that come up in life.
So tell me about the mental aspect. I know when I'm out training, I just feel like quitting, or how do you overcome that?
That is a challenge too with me. But I think mentally, I always think of my daughters, and I always think I can't let them see me give up. I can't let them see me quit. That usually gives me a boost mentally. And just using a lot of self-talk. I kind of read a lot about that this year. I try to make my goals a little bit more challenging, and of course with that comes more mental doubt and everything. So it really is true with all the stuff they say about keeping a positive mindset, because that will get you through any challenge.
That's so true. So what are the keys to finishing a Ironman triathlon?
I think a lot of it is attitude, being grateful that you can even be in that event, or that you're able to even do these things physically, and then just being happy. I know my brother and I, when we compete, we really like to cheer on others, because when you do that, it makes you happy. And so just being a really positive person, and also like saying prayers throughout the race, that gets you through it. Knowing that you're out there, I guess, bringing strength to others. And that's kind of what we were always taught, like running from at Hopi. You're not doing this for yourself. You're doing it for strength for others, and your prayers are helping others be strong with whatever they're going through. So that kind of, when I do these long races, that's what I think about when I'm running or competing in triathlon.
Nice. What about diet? How important is your diet in training?
It's like another part of training. It's you put in the workouts, you do your strength training, you do your stretching, but diet is also a huge part of it. And I love sweets. I love to bake. And so when I'm really training for a key race, I have to really be disciplined with that. And I can really feel the difference if I'm not eating the way I'm supposed to. I feel really sluggish, and I can't recover fast. And so I really I know that diet is very important, and I try to meal plan and prep on Sundays, just because our week is so busy. And so that really helps to have everything ready, and you already know what's coming next. And my girls laugh at me because I write on a wall calendar that there's one just for food. So I try to be organized with it. Of course, some days I'm not on top of it, but I just realize how much I'm willing to spend extra money on groceries that are healthy than to eat out.
So you take a look at all that, right? And I always hear that natives have this issue with obesity and
Hmm.
diabetes. How do you set that example for your girls? I mean, in my opinion, like I think we create and we get over that as parents. Would you agree?
Uh-huh. Yes. I know in our family too, we have very strong incidence of cancer on my dad's side. And so, and then on my mom's side, we have the diabetes and a lot of my family members. So I just tell them this is, you don't have to take medicine. This is the way to, I guess, what do you call it? Like a way to not develop it. And so I, of course, like little things in diet, I don't buy soda. I try not to buy a lot of junk food for them, but also teaching them that moderation is okay. I mean, you can have some things sometimes, just not every day. And showing them how to cook, showing them um, how to substitute, like, say we have tacos, it's okay, but we're going to eat turkey, ground turkey, just stuff like that. And so they know when they're adults, they have these little habits that they picked up from me. So I guess modeling, and I know it's hard when we go home, when we have our dances. A lot of our food is just it's good, but we also try to bring a healthy option too. Like we'll make a salad sometimes, or we'll make a stir fry, and just little things like that to make little changes. Hopefully, it'll carry through, and when they're parents and they can show. Well, my oldest is a parent, but yeah, so that she can show her son these habits too, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully add to it.
That's so true. You know, I look at it and I remember when I was probably in fourth grade, my dad used to run. So we used to run with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like those are things that my wife and I do in our family. Like we run and we're active and training for races or bike rides and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
our daughters see that, and I feel like they do that. And I think that's kind of what I was getting at was that modeling. And you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So in the off season, what type of training do you focus on?
So I was thinking about this question, and I thought I don't really have an off season. I kind of I mean, I'll take like after Ironman, I took a month of just easy workouts. I didn't do anything for about 2 weeks until I felt like it, and I know that that time is really important to re-energizing your body, even your brain, because you're just kind of done mentally after your big race. So I guess during those times, I just kind of take it easy. I get out and do things like hiking, biking, just for fun, and I don't take my watch sometimes. It's just fun, fun workouts, and then but I also set a time limit. Like, okay, this is going to be okay for 3 weeks or whatever, 2 weeks, and based on how my body's feeling and recovering. So I don't really take like total time off. I always try to incorporate some type of physical activity before a big race comes up. Like I'm training for the Boston Marathon right now, and so before I started, I really started doing a lot of biking and swimming just to get my cardio ready and my leg strength. And then now I'm just focusing on the run workout. So I guess during the off season, I kind of think about what's coming up next, and I try to prep my body in different ways for the hard training that's coming.
So you talked about something in there. How do you avoid overtraining and injury?
Um, so I had to. Well, I'm 43, and it feels like it's taking me longer to recover from hard workouts and hard races in age. So I think looking at, I usually plan a race calendar. So I used to do like a race almost every month, and then now just focusing on key races. Like this year, I'm doing Boston, and then I'm doing Chicago in the fall. So kind of just planning a more spaced out, and realizing I can't do every race. I mean, I would love to, but I can't, and I have to kind of just pick some key races and then space them out. So that's kind of, as I get a little older, I have to do that.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean. I feel like it feels like once I hit 40, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
recovery. Absolutely. So whenever you look at the training and the race, what do you find to be the biggest challenge? When you start your training to whenever you complete the race.
I think probably time. This morning I was supposed to run, or not this morning, I'm sorry. Tuesday I was supposed to run an hour and a half, and I got out there and I looked at my watch and it was already 6 o'clock, and I'm usually done by 6 o'clock. So it was so crazy. We got to work in school on time, but I think just that, like, there's not enough time sometimes for to complete the workouts, and I really wish I could have that luxury, just to unlimited time for workouts and stuff. But and then realizing that not to get too hard on myself for missing a few miles here and there. But I think that's the biggest challenge during a training cycle is the time.
So just balancing
Uh-huh.
your work, your family, and then training.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. So how important is your culture?
Um, I come from a really I guess active family of people who are really active in our culture out at Hopi, and our ceremonies go all year. So um, as the years go by, I notice I'm not able to be out there as much as I would like to, just because my daughters are so involved in things, and I have my work here and just all of that. But we do go, and we're very connected. We're very close family. We try to participate as much as we can. My daughters are two of them over the summer last year. They did their corn grinding, their puberty ceremony, and so that the stuff in Hopi is still a huge part of our life, and we try to fit it in as best as we can. But as in terms of sports, I think I mentioned a little bit. I always think about why we do these things, and my uncles and my mom remind me all the time when we're going to go out to a race or whatever, to pray for others, to think of others, and just to wish happy thoughts, strong thoughts to everyone. And so that's a big motivator and why I do this too. So that's and then of course I pass that to my girls, and they know all the time that that's what we do when we run or we play or whatever they do. Yeah.
That's amazing. So whenever you think about the training, whenever you get up to the line, are you ever afraid to go?
Oh gosh, I think more in triathlon, more. I mean, I've run forever, so I'm not really nervous with running. But triathlon, I always get those butterflies. I know in Ironman, one year we just jumped in, and it was a whole mass start. We didn't go by waves, and so I was standing there, and I was ready to jump in the water. I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I told my friend, I said, if I get scared, just push me in. But yeah, once there's always those butterflies in the triathlon, just because I've had really nervous feelings when I'm swimming, and I feel like just I don't like. I'm very competitive, and I always want to be in the front, so I don't like that feeling in the swim where it's a struggle. And so I think that gives me nerves, but once I get going, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then just sometimes the night before, I'll be thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be out there for over 12 hours, 13 hours. And, it's just kind of gets to you. The nerves get to you. But once you get going, like I think probably 15 minutes into it, and I'm fine. Yeah.
Nice. Now, on the other side of that, how important is confidence whenever you go up to the line?
Well, I never go into racing. What if I don't finish? Because that's not even an option for me. So I think the balance of it's okay to have nerves, but still believe that you're going to go out there and do your best. You have to believe that, or it's going to be a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. So, is there anything else you would like to share?
I think a lot of I like to talk to groups like out on reservations or anywhere, and a lot of the message that I give is don't be afraid to try something new. Like you said, there's not a lot of Native American triathletes. I mean, it's increasing, but I think the whole concept of a triathlon is overwhelming for a lot of people. And it has a lot of components. The bike, you got to get a bike, you got to have a place to swim. And so I think all of that overwhelms people. But just to, if you really want to do something, there's always a way. There's always a way to get it done, break it down into small pieces, and it'll all work out in the end. Um, I never ever thought I would finish an Ironman. I mean, I thought, oh my gosh, I would die if I tried one. And then I saw one of my friends here. She's so inspiring to me. It's the reason why I keep doing these. She's a year older than me. She's from Salt River, and when she did her first Ironman, she was the last finisher. Like the clock was at 0 when she came through, and we were just to see her crying and just so happy to finish. And so every time I think of that, I'm thinking, okay, I can do it. She toughed it out and she made it through. And if she can do it, if my friends can do these things, I can do it too. So just a message of it's not impossible to do things.
Right. So you just mentioned something in there. So it's not really about winning; it's about finishing. Am I right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly. Yes. Just the like I said, the reward of finishing something so long and putting your body through it. And you just it's such an amazing feeling to cross that finish line. And I always, my daughters laugh at my pictures because I'm so excited at the finish and I look like I won the Olympics or something. But I always tell them, I say, it's you guys don't even know the feeling. I mean, they're proud of me, but you have to experience it yourself to know what it feels like.
Mm-hmm. So, are you available to hold triathlon clinics?
I have actually a good friend. His name's Trent Taylor, and he's very fast. He's very fast, and he's actually very close to qualifying for Kona, the World Championship in triathlon. And I feel like with him, my brother, there's a few of us that have been doing this for a long time. And I think if we got together, we could really give some good advice to people. So as a group, yes.
And so, how could people contact you if they would like advice on training for a triathlon?
I can be reached on Facebook. My first name is Caroline. My last name is Sekaquaptewa. Instagram, and also my email. It's 3manasj@gmail. So yeah, I always enjoy speaking to groups, and even just if someone has questions, I can help as much as I can. So.
That's amazing. So you just shared what platforms you're on, so that's good. So we're all set with the interview, unless you have anything else you want to talk about.
That's it. But thank you for thinking of me to do this interview. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, and I think that's part of the reason why I started the podcast was so that our youth and natives can hear about people that are being successful out in the real world. You're training hard. You've overcome some obstacles to finish triathlons. I mean, especially an Ironman. I don't even know if I could do it, but I think that's the power in what you're doing. And I do have one other question. How did you build such a large following on Instagram?
I have very good people who take good pictures. No, I was laughing because one of my godbrother took a picture of me with holding a bike after my second Ironman, and I think just the concept of who I am, a single mom working, and doing these endurance events, I think that really makes connections with a lot of people because they're kind of doing similar things. And then I just like to share, like during training and races, what I think. And sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's silly. I guess it's just real, real, real connections because people go through similar things.
Right. Have you ever thought about having a blog?
I like to write, but I'm also trying to do a national board certification for
Okay.
for teaching, and I'm kind of backed up with that writing right now. Yeah, but that is a thought that I've had. Yeah. Hopefully when I get through this national board stuff, then I'll have more time for that.
That's true. That's true. Well, we're all set. If you could send me an image that you want on the back of the podcast, that'd be great. That way people can hear the voice and then see a picture of who you are.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right. We are all set. Again, thanks for taking time out of your schedule. I know I had to run and make time to do the interview too. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I hope you have a great day. Have a good 3-day weekend.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This episode has two sponsors. NavajoStore.com, an online store for Navajo products. Visit NavajoStore.com and order your Clan coffee mug, Clan travel mug, or Clan license plate. Visit NavajoStore.com. You can also find us on Facebook at NavajoStore.com. The second sponsor is Tselani Professional Business Consulting Services, LLC, a Navajo-owned business. Contact TPBCS for business development and technical assistance if you are interested in entering, expanding, or improving your business. Contact Tselani Professional Business Consulting Services at 480-980-0211 or on Facebook, TPBCS.